My name is Angelique Bichilwalwa. I am from Congo, DRC. At Portland Trails, I am the inclusion coordinator. I like being outside, enjoy the nature. You know, the nature is soft. It doesn't hurt. It's beautiful. And when I heard about this job, I said, that's my place. I need to take that job. I need to invite others, get them involved to go outside. Just enjoy yourself, guys. I remember when my family called me here, the first question is just, Angelique, are you busy? Because they know that in America, everyone is busy. And being busy at job, being busy everywhere, you don't have time for ourselves. So that's the reason why I asked people to get outside and enjoy the nature for their health. The first step for this project is doing some surveys to the residents so they can tell us if they see something they need on the trail, we can make it for them. We ask them if they could join us on some activities we are doing here, like reading a book. We will involve parents to read the book for their kids. The other thing is a group walk. Maybe some people are afraid to go out alone. They will go with friends.
The approach the Portland Trails is taking of listening and being led by the community themselves is something that we're proud to stand behind. Allagash is fundamentally a resident of the Riverton neighborhood. We've been based here ever since we were started in 1995, and we've watched it grow up into this amazing community.
At Riverton, we see that there is a low-income people. They don't have enough money to pay for maybe the fitness or something like that. There is so many immigrants over there. They don't have spaces outside. There is not a space for kids to play. They need a place like here. It's free and it connects them to the destination. They can connect to the school or community center. So by inclusion myself, I understand like we need everyone to be there. All the culture together to feel welcome and breathe fresh air.
Thank you, Allison, for putting that on. I'm so proud to be part of an organization leading this kind of work, and we've been delighted to have Angelique join our team this year. You'll see in the chat, there's a link to a description on our website for more information about the program. We're going to keep it moving. We have a very ambitious agenda. Brief president's report from me. First, I want to introduce the logistics of tonight's meeting. You should have received an agenda and materials for this meeting in your email today, so you can refer to those to follow along in the program. You'll see in the bottom bar in front of you a Q&A button, so feel free to ask a question anytime, and our team members will provide an answer, likely in the chat. There's also a raise hand feature. You see that button down there in your bottom bar, and this is to vote. And so this is for members only. So voting is for Portland Trails members. If you're having any trouble finding these, please reach out in the chat function and one of our team members will help you. So Portland Trails, as I said at the beginning, members, this is your meeting. So you get to vote on our new and our renewing board members, and I'll be calling for that vote in just a little while. Thank you to our committee members and our chairs. Reports from each committee from their year's activities have been included in your packet. Suffice it to say that 2022 is a year filled with growth and opportunity for Portland Trails. You can view a full report on the year on our website, and it's also in the meeting materials we sent. All members have received this report earlier this month, a beautiful color copy and incredible work profiled there. At 32 years old, our organization now has over 75 miles of trails, 1,100 plus members and growing, a trail within a 10-minute walk of 95% of Portland's residents, and over 1 million trail uses per year. All of this is possible because of your dedication, your donations, and your volunteer hours. We are grateful for your engagement and the many ways that you contribute to our community and to Portland Trails. A few accomplishments and milestones from the past year. This year with the Clark Brook Trail, we embarked on our largest trail project in a decade with funding from the IDEX Foundation, connecting Portland and Westbrook. This trail will be opening this summer, so stay tuned for details about our ribbon cutting. Earlier, I mentioned our inclusion coordinator, Angelique, who heads up our Healthier Neighborhoods program, as you saw in the video a few moments ago. And volunteers, we've had our largest number of trail volunteers engaged ever in 2022, with a total of over 2,000 hours given. So round of applause. I know we're all like virtual here, but that is just a delight that really volunteer hours help make the trails possible. Finally, we also said goodbye to Kara Woldrick, who stepped down from her role as executive director in December. We extend our deepest gratitude to Kara for her 10 years of steady leadership. We're also grateful to Dana Totman, who's been serving as our interim director through this time of transition, and you'll see and hear a bit more from Dana in a bit. As we go through this turning point in our history, I want to reiterate our commitments to you here, our members, our partners, our community as a whole, that we in Portland Trails will walk the talk, especially when it comes to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. We will continue our thoughtful and intentional work necessary to become in right relationship with the Wabanaki people and the land. And we are dedicated to co-creating welcoming trails with our community members and our partners so that we can all feel comfortable in outdoor spaces. On behalf of Portland Trails Board and staff, I send our deepest thanks for your ongoing support and helping transform Greater Portland into a healthier and happier place to be. So now, I mentioned voting earlier, we're going to move into the election of board members. This evening, I'd like to introduce two individuals on our slate who are willing to provide board service to Portland Trails. For election, each with a 3-year term, I'll ask member attendees who are here tonight to show your vote of support by raising your hand. First, Parker Madden, who is here this evening, and Sue Collard, who is not available tonight, was not able to attend. I believe she's in the air right now, but she's here in spirit. And also for a re-election with a 3-year term each, Laura McHugh and Matthew Forsythe. So the question, calling a vote, do you elect to approve these directors to a 3-year term? So you can show by raising your hand, clicking that button. And may I have a motion to approve that vote? I see Yvonne's hand. May I have a second? Virtually, I don't see my colleague's hand, but I'm quite sure one of them will provide a second by raising their hand. If a colleague sees it, you can drop it in the chat and let me know. Thank you, Hannah. I appreciate the second. All those in favor, raising your hand, electing these two new board members and re-electing these two continuing board members. Thank you. Okay. I want to also take a moment to bid farewell with deep gratitude to our departing board members. Recently, Laura Barger cycled off the board, and Yvonne Mumme, who's been our treasurer for a number of years, is also nearing the end of her term, so she will be cycling off the board, but has remained committed to continuing as a volunteer with the organization. Please, round of applause and great thanks to you all for your contributions over many years. And speaking of Yvonne, now I will hand the baton to you for the treasurer's report.
Hello, it is my pleasure to report to you on the state of Portland's Trails finances. Please note that these figures are preliminary as our accountants are scheduled to review our financial statements next month. Portland Trails expenses for 2022 were $632,000. We have been able to keep our expenses low as we rely on numerous volunteers annually to help us maintain trails, assist with events, and to serve as advisors. To pay for those expenses, the largest portion of our income in 2022 came from individuals like you through memberships and contributions to our annual fund. Thank you. Thank you also to the local businesses who support us through corporate partnerships, event sponsorships, and our Adopt a Trail program. Due to poor stock market performance in 2022, we ended the year with a net loss of $60,000. But excluding those temporary market losses of $100,000 from investments, we would have ended the year with a surplus of $40,000. So overall, good performance, and we do expect those investments to turn around this year or sometime in the future. Thank you to Portland Trail staff, supporters, and volunteers for making 2022 a successful year.
Thank you, Yvonne. All right, and now I have the pleasure of introducing you to Portland Trail's Interim Executive Director, Dana Totman. Before I hand off the baton and the spotlight, I'd like to wax poetic a bit about our Interim Executive Director. Dana is recent former CEO of Vesta Housing. He is very familiar around the Portland community, as many of you probably know. In addition to being a seasoned nonprofit executive who we're so grateful to have at our helm during this time of leadership transition, Dana is also a lover of the outdoors, of trails, of hiking. He's hiked thousands of miles of trails all over the world. So with that, I will hand it over to Dana.
Great. Thank you, Kate. And thank you all very much for letting me be part of this wonderful organization. I really appreciate the welcome that I received from the board and from the staff and from many of you. It really is just amazing. Since joining in February, it's been confirmed for me that Portland Trails provides a vital piece to the fabric of this city. Portland Trails really does help make Portland a cool city, a healthy city, a fun city, a vibrant city, and a beautiful place for everyone to enjoy. I can think of no other organization as effective at leaving everyone with a feel-good feeling. Since coming here, I've been busy. I've been busy here at Portland Trails, helping with things like bylaws, committee structures, job descriptions, staff structures, HR policies, banking and insurance relationships, and managing the staff and assisting the board. I really do hope that my support to the board and the staff has been helpful in some meaningful way. And the biggest task for the board right now is to find a permanent executive director so I can go back to pasture where I probably in fact belong. And an update on that search. Portland Trails has hired ProSearch to provide professional help with the search. An 8-person search committee has been formed, and over 70 applicants have applied for this position. Those applications are now being reviewed. Interviews will soon occur, and a decision by the board should occur this spring, and the next executive director should be in place within a couple of months. Please contact us if you have any questions related to this search. I'm excited to think that there'll be a wonderful new executive director sitting in a seat next year at your next annual meeting. We really are very optimistic that the perfect candidate will emerge. Again, many thanks to all of you for being members here at Portland Trails. Your support is absolutely critically important. So again, I want to thank you all for joining on this call, for being members and supporting Portland Trails. I just feel so privileged to be able to join you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dana. All right, we'll keep the program moving. Next, I'm going to introduce and pass off the baton to my board colleague, my friend, our incoming board president, Paul Botticello.
Thank you, Kate. Well done. Thank you, Dana. So the rest of the program looks like this. We're going to do three things. One is a brief participation exercise. Then we're going to get into the trail spotlight for the Fore River Sanctuary. And then there's some announcements and appreciations. So it's those three things. We're going to start off with a brief participation exercise. So we need your help with this. It's an opportunity really to feel the energy of the dozens and dozens of us that are together here on this call. It's called a chat storm. It's not called a chat trickle. So we're going to try it like this. We're going to ask a question. You're going to open up your chat and type in your answer and not hit enter until we collectively say 3, 2, 1, and then you hit enter. So here's the question. Please open up your chat. And the question is, what is the most interesting thing you've seen on a Portland trail? This could be a found object, an animal, a bird, something else. What is the most interesting thing you've seen on a trail? Don't hit enter yet. 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, I think that worked, folks. Blue heron, lightning strike. I saw Bud Light in there. We have to talk. Deer stand, river otters, fisher, a shadow that looked like a bear. Okay. Special trees, fox. The world's shortest trail bridge at 16 inches, I believe that is. And the full moon reflecting on Casco Bay from the Eastern Crown Trail. Ooh, the koi wolf, very nice. Thank you for playing. Thank you for bringing your energy, for letting us know you're here with us. And thanks for spending a little time with us tonight. We did this exercise the other day and someone answered what they found on the trail was perspective. And of course, we know that being out in nature affords us that opportunity to see things differently. And so what the staff has prepared for us tonight with the trail spotlight is looking at the Fore River Sanctuary from 3 different perspectives. And so we're going to take a look at it from poetry, from climate change, and from the Indigenous connection. 2 of those are going to be videos, and then we have Dwayne here with us to talk about the Indigenous connection. So first, I'm going to introduce, and if you have any questions along the way, please put them in the Q&A, and we'll try to cycle as many of those through as we can, so to answer them tonight as we go. I want to introduce our poet for the evening, Mike Bove, and he's a Portland-based poet. Those of you who are here last year may have remembered he read a poem that he wrote last year. And between now and then, Portland Trails commissioned Mike, along with another poet, to write a series of poems about the Fore River Sanctuary. So tonight, those poems are included in a book called Writing the Land. And tonight, Mike is going to be reading a poem called Sanctuary. Allison.
Hi everybody, I'm Mike Bove. I live in Portland. I'm a Portland-based writer. I'm a professor of English at SMCC, and I worked with Portland Trails on the Writing the Land project recently. And the land that I was paired with was the Fore Sanctuary, which is a special swath of land for me because that's where I grew up. I grew up in that neighborhood, and I spent a lot of time as a kid exploring those trails in the Fore Sanctuary. And one of the poems I wrote for the Writing the Land anthology is about those childhood explorations. I'll read it for you now. It's called Sanctuary. The paths I walked were an amalgam, a spider's web threading marsh and pine. One summer, I discovered something poking out of the water in a marsh stream at low tide. I don't remember descending into mud, but soon I was shin deep, pulling at corroded metal to reveal frame and foot peg, fender and wheel, an abandoned motorcycle hidden for who knew how long or why. I thought I could dislodge it and get it home. My dad had the tools, and soon I'd ride the neighborhood in triumph. But day was ending, the tide was swelling, and soon I'd be lost to darkness and water. I was so close. When it reached my waist, the sky was pink. I remember letting go, watching the bike get swallowed. I promised I'd return, and I did, though 30 years later with my own boys, walking trails until an accidental glance brought it back in sharp surprise. Still there at low tide. The motorcycle and me pointing, thrill in my voice as memory surfaced, spreading a web of remembered days, intricate as a spider's under late summer sun. That's a true story. Go down there at low tide and look for that bike. Bye, everybody.
Terrific. Thank you, Mike. And that poem, along with many others, are in this book, Writing the Land, Maine. And this is available for sale on our website, and copies will be in local libraries soon. So check it out. The next video we have is climate change and the Fore Sanctuary. And this is a video featuring Portland Trails staff, Jamie Parker and Daniel Bishop. They'll walk us through recent changes in the sanctuary and some long-term plans for climate resiliency.
One, two, three, pull! 1, 2, 3, pull! All right, let's let it sit there for a second. All right, and then we can just let it fall. 1, 2, 3, drop. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And now we're gonna have to.
I'm Jamie Parker. I'm the Trails and Transportation Manager for Portland Trails.
So as we saw in that December storm and in the general trend of rising sea levels, the sanctuary is already being impacted. The sanctuary is Portland Trail's largest contiguous network of conserved land, and it's our most ecologically diverse area. It has an important role to play in the health of the larger ecosystem in the region. It's a refuge for animal species, it's a sponge and filter in the water cycle. It's a stopover for migrating birds. It's a natural arboretum of plants, from saltwater marsh grasses in the estuary, freshwater riparian species, and a relatively healthy mixed upland forest. It's also a place that humans interact with the ecosystem, and one of our tasks is to provide that access, but also to mitigate the impacts in ways large and small.
Hello, my name is Daniel Bishop. I'm the Trail Stewardship and Volunteer Coordinator with Portland Trails. We're out here in the Fore River Sanctuary on a trail that's called the Canal Path. You can see there's a lot of tributaries and small little waterways that are feeding into the main Fore River here. And what we've been noticing recently in the last few years is a lot more of the sides actually starting to slump into the riverway, and a lot of that's happening because the flooding is happening more, and it's causing a higher saturation of the ground, and so you're getting these big sections that are actually peeling off the edge and falling into the river. Now this is a natural process, but here we're seeing it happen a lot quicker than you would expect naturally, especially because of just the influx of water due to these storms. So you can see here is an example of that, and this is an area that actually would naturally be occurring. It's called an oxbow, so it's a bend in the river, but unfortunately it's coinciding with our trail here. And you can see that over time with these continued floods, the trail's actually dropped 6 to 8 inches right where I'm standing, and less than 5 years ago this was all at the same level as over there, so that there has dropped considerably. You actually see gravel has come down, and that's gravel I laid last year, so the trail was even further out. So this is what that slumping action is. So you can see these pools of water here are a great indicator showing that it hasn't rained in many days, but the water is actually rising up above its normal line and backfilling these pools. In the last few years, these were commonly dry. You wouldn't see these full of water, but now, because of the more consistent flooding, you're seeing them full. Here you can see one of the bridges that actually washed away in that most recent big storm. And prospectively, this bridge has never moved in the 25 years it's been here. And for this to get lifted up, the water had to be over the level of the bridge because there's piping underneath of that. And the water came up and actually moved the bridge way over there, at the junction of those two small streams. So just thinking of the amount of massive water that had to be here during that storm.
In our efforts to adapt and evolve the system to withstand these changes, we're doing a number of things. We are hardening and elevating trails to make them more resilient. We're lifting and tethering bridges subject to flooding. We're accepting that there are times when the trail will be impassable. And in some cases, we're considering relocating trails. The canal path in the Fore River Sanctuary is a man-made structure. It was hand-dug with shovels to create a canal and the associated towpath, and it's basically been eroding ever since it was created. There may come a day when it's not sustainable to keep that trail above water. And as we think about the longer-term future of the trails, there will be some hard decisions to make, and some decisions will be made for us. So along with building more resilient trails and our other stewardship efforts in the sanctuary, we're also really focused on active transportation. And by active transportation, we mean pretty much any mode that's not a single occupant vehicle. So we know transportation is a huge contributor to CO2 emissions. We know that our land use patterns necessitate driving for many daily activities, and that the majority of those trips are less than 3 miles. A distance that, if people had options and felt safe, is eminently walkable or bikeable. We also know that the burdens of this auto-dependent system fall disproportionately on already vulnerable communities. Dangerous roads and lack of services and transportation options in lower income communities, poor air quality impacts, just to name a few. but our transportation and land use decisions affect quality of life for all of us. Over the last few years, we've begun to build out the trail network strategically. We've begun to identify corridors that, if they were upgraded to be more accessible, they could become transportation corridors to allow some of these short trips to be made on foot, wheelchair, bicycle, or being pushed in a stroller. We're calling these routes neighborhood byways. One of those potential byway routes passes right through the Fore River Sanctuary. We've heard from a lot of people that the Outer Congress Street area, where many people work, is really unfriendly and unsafe for bicycling and walking. So we're planning a byway that would actually connect the Nason's Corner neighborhood to the Fore Sanctuary and through to Stroudwater River, where we're planning a new bridge over the river to connect with Outer Congress Street and the Jetport. So while still keeping the bulk of the sanctuary a relatively wild refuge, a trail along the higher ground at the northern edge of the Fore River Sanctuary can have a significant impact on reducing other human impacts on the larger environment. So we know Portland Trail's efforts in the sanctuary or throughout our system are not going to stop climate change, but I do believe that Portland Trails has a role to play in creating a more sustainable future for Portland.
Thank you, Daniel and Jamie. And thanks for increasing our awareness tonight of what's happening on the trail and the challenges and what we're doing to continue to address things in the years to come. Our last section of the Fore River Sanctuary deep dive, it's my pleasure to introduce Dwayne Tomah, Passamaquoddy language keeper. We began working with Dwayne last year. Dwayne's going to talk about our collaboration, his experience walking through the sanctuary. And Dwayne, you're here in Portland. Thank you for taking time with us live here tonight.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me this evening. My name is Dwayne Tomah, Deliwiz, Nujayao, Zibaig, Beskidamukad. My name is Dwayne Tomah from the Passamaquoddy tribe. It's an honor for me to be here with you this evening. It was really an honor to be able to have this collaboration and to be able to talk about place names and our deep relationship with our mother. I just want to thank Portland Trails and all the organizations that are involved and all the volunteers and the tireless time that they put in and taking care of our mother. It's so important. That's why it's so important to be able to also acknowledge the first people. We're very inclusive. We're very inviting. We're very welcoming. We're in this together. All of us. We're all in this together. Our people have sacred instructions right from the beginning. That is to take care of our mother. Chitbid, Gichid Mida Hadamawagan. In our language, Gichid Mida Hadamawagan is respect. Having respect for our mother. Gichigigwasan. Gichigigwasan. In our language is our mother. Gichid Mida Hadamawagan means respect. And I just want to break that down a little bit about what that really means, Gichid Mida Hadamawagan. Gichi means great. Gichid Mida Hadamawagan is the feelings that I have for you. They're great. Love, caring, sharing. These are all the concepts that are involved in the language and how we view the world, because we are all connected. So what I want to do is be able to start off. I just want to share with you a real brief song from our people. And this song is called Gigat Dazwagan. Gigat Dazwagan in our language means healing. Our mother needs healing. We need healing. Portland Trails has brought medicine to the people. Our mother has brought medicine to us. When I walk these trails, what a wonderful feeling I got. I saw a blue heron. I saw all kinds of trees. I felt the water. I felt the spirit there. So, oh, mother, Kigat does wagon. She needs healing. I'm really honored to be here this evening to share some of the language and to be able to share our relationship with our mother. We all can identify our relationship and the medicine that it brings us. We got to take care of her. And I was just there probably a couple of months ago going through the trail, and I just wanted to share a brief clip of my experience here in Portland, Maine, with some of the people as we walk this trail. So if you could bring up that clip there and we could show us walking through the trail. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for being with me this afternoon. Just a little historical overview here. Our people actually existed here for over 12,000 years. It's amazing our people have inhabited this region for that amount of time. Our people are really used to travel up and down the waterways and have a real deep relationship with the environment. Our people were seafaring people. We would travel up and down through the coast, all the way down to Portland, all the way up to Canada, different areas. And, you know, there was always different place names that we would have for different areas. So down by the Portland areas, there are different names as we go through and traveling down these different portages and different areas to be able to hunt, fish, gather medicines. So it's real important to be able to share a lot of the abundance of things that are around you and our relationship with the environment. So it's really an honor to be able to have this opportunity to be able to share all these place names, tribal historical place names with the people in Portland, to be able to share this historical idea of what those original names were in Portland area and throughout the area here on our homelands. Because once again, our people have existed here over 12,000 years. A lot of intellectual, historical knowledge has been shared and been handed down from one generation to the other. So once again, it's really an opportunity to be able to come and share this with Portland, Maine. So I'd like to thank you all for having me a part of sharing the historical names and place names in Portland, Maine. So thank you very much. that was just a short intro as far as like, we didn't actually get to show you when we actually walked the trails. But I really, really appreciate the fact that we're coming together and we're actually returning back original place names. And I also know that there is a process that needs to be done. And we're going to be working through that process and collaboratively and working together with the organizations and also with Portland City Council, because it's my understanding there's a process in order to be able to have that take place. But for us to all to come together and to be able to have this discussion, it's really wonderful thing for me to be able to be a part of. It's really riveting, really unprecedented. Because those of you that are familiar with the history, hasn't always been like that. And we want to extend our hand once again, continue this relationship, and to be able to share this historical knowledge and to be able to take care of our mother together. So it's really a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to do this and do it right. So I'm really happy to be able to do that and share that with you. So thank you very much.
Dwayne, thank you so much for being here tonight, for being with us and sharing your perspective on this place that I sometimes take for granted, getting to bike and walk it regularly. So really appreciate your perspective. Couldn't think of a better way to end our acknowledgement of the sanctuary tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Stay well.
Thank you.
I think we have time for a couple of questions, and I believe Lindsay is going to join us. Here she is, and we'll do some Q&A if you unmute.
Hey, everybody. My name is Lindsay Conrad. I'm the Director of Development here at Portland Trails. I've been watching the chat here and sort of answering questions. I wanted to just bring a few questions to the forefront, just in case anyone else has them. First, some people were asking about their membership. So if their membership was current, or if they had renewed their membership, or if they were a member, feel free to email us anytime if you have any questions about that. And you can, if you're not already a member, you can go to our website at trails.org and become a member. It's $35 for an individual and $50 for a year. Quite a deal, I think. So if you'd like to join Portland Trails as a community member, it looks like Allison just put that into the chat. Another question that people had was if we will be having these, I think Jean asked if we would be having these presentations available on the web. They absolutely will be. We are recording this session and we'll be sending it out via email to all the attendees and also to our entire e-list. And we'll also be putting it on our website at some point, probably next week. So these are all being recorded and will be sent out. So if you want to send to friends or just watch again, there's some really beautiful moving stuff here. And then a few other people had questions about Dwayne, when you were sort of talking about the place names and sort of where people can find out more about this. That was dropped into our chat as well. Allison dropped the website to Navitor, which is the company that's working with us for that. And it'll be up probably a little bit later this year, but there'll be an audio guided tour where Dwayne sort of talks through some of those place names. Dwayne, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, other than that, other than that, there has to be also some research done and looking at what the place actually was named phonetically, other tribal names, and we have to break that down. It's quite a process to be able to do that. And then also, if it doesn't have a name, then as a language speaker, because I am actually the youngest fluent speaker on our homelands, what we'll do is we'll go there and we'll see what's actually there, what we actually smell, what we hear, what we feel, all these different ways to be able to describe the land. So it's quite a process. It's not like just picking out a name and giving it a name. It's just, it's quite a process.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you. Thank you. Those are all the questions that I have. If anyone else wants to add a quick little question before we sign off, feel free to add it into the chat or the Q&A. I'll give you a minute or so. If anyone else has any questions. No? Okay.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Yeah, of course.
We have a couple of announcements. City at Your Feet scavenger hunt is coming up with some new additions to it this year, July 15th and 16th. And then if you're a planner, Holiday Dash 5K comes December 10th. So if we start training now, we have a chance. And more information can be found about all that on the website. In our close, we really want to thank members and donors. We have over 1,000 strong members. You are the lifeblood of this organization. Particular thanks to our Trail Guide Circle donors, those who lead us with their gifts of $1,000 or more annually. So thank you. Volunteers, we could not keep Portland Trails going without you. Businesses and corporate sponsors, they support our events and our projects and our trails, particularly thanks to our project sponsors, IDEX Foundation, Allagash Brewing Company, REI Co-op, Evergreen Credit Union, LL Bean, Athletic Brewing Company, and thanks to our grant givers for your commitment and trust in our programs and our projects. Particular thanks to the Quimby Family Foundation, Thomas and Joanne Suckup Family Foundation, Maine Community Foundation, Samuel L. Cohen Foundation, and the Onion Foundation. And finally, all of us on this call, we get to enjoy and volunteer and support the work of Portland Trails, but none of that happens without 7 people, the Portland Trails team. And so on behalf of everyone on the call team, we want to thank Lindsay, Jamie, Allison, Daniel, Bailey, Angelique, and Dana. We are grateful to each of you for your commitment, your dedication, your expertise in creating and stewarding and sharing and respecting something that has deep meaning in our lives right now and will continue to impact the lives of people in Maine for generations to come. Our sincere thanks. You're making a big difference. And that concludes our annual meeting. We hope to see you out on the trail or at our next event. Have a great night.